Okay.
Ready.
So we ready?
Yes.
Let's
Okay,
go.
everybody, welcome to episode number 39. Welcome to the Daily Closing. Great being with you. Right now, we have something taking place. It's called the Synod, or Synodality is taking place right now, which is essentially almost 100%, not 100%, but almost 100% of bishops and cardinals, and not all of them, but most of them are invited to Rome. And essentially, a conversation is supposed to take place.
Does this happen often? Like, is
the
it every
request for
October,
Pope-
or how did it?
No,
how
no,
did
no,
it
no,
come
no.
about?
It's not necessarily something that happens every year. It's
As needed.
is a request that comes from the Pope. So he'll decide, how often. Guys, the most significant thing that happens here goes back to, the difference between pre-Vatican II, post-Vatican II. Vatican II goes back to the early 1960s, right? A few specific changes that comes out of post-Vatican II. Freedom to choose, right? Freedom to choose changes the concept of the ecumenical relationships, meaning prior to Vatican II, anybody that was not a Catholic, you saw them as people where the church had a missionary responsibility to bring you back to the church.
Got it.
Whether you became a Protestant, whether you were Orthodox,
Kind
whether
of
you
like an
whatever.
outsider.
Yeah, exactly. You're listen. We can still call you brother, but you know what I mean. But
Like stepbrother.
Yeah. But you need to. We need to bring you in.
Yeah, I got you.
We need to bring you in.
More like
now,
cousin.
now, guys. So the whole idea of freedom to choose was not something that was part of the Catholic Church, because the way we saw the teaching of the Catholic Church was from the Judeo-Christian tradition, right? It was, you're talking about prophecy, you're talking about a Messiah, and then you're talking about Peter, right? Upon you are rock, and upon you are build my church, and so on and so forth, right? And so it was handed down to. There's a big difference between I'm saying I'm choosing to be that is something that was given to me.
I got you.
So when something is given to me, it's like you invite me to lunch, right? And you put a plate in front of me. And you decided what was going to go into that plate. The only thing that I can choose is, do I eat it or not? But at this point, I can't choose what's in the plate. So essentially, that was the same concept, right? We did not agree on the idea that you will have the freedom to choose as to whether or not what would be the way to get into the. So for that reason, every other relationship with every other church, the idea was, the concept was, a missionary church is always looking to bring other people into the church, right? So that's the first thing that goes out the window. Out of Vatican II, it's almost like saying everybody has the freedom to choose. That should be between you and God. A very Protestant-like type of position. Very much is allowing the idea that you're going to choose between religions as if everybody has the same truth.
Yeah.
And that's a problem, because, guys, everybody can't be right.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Somebody's got to be a lot of people are going to be wrong, and somebody's got to be closer to being right.
Yeah.
Then the second concept was ecumenism itself, right? Meaning, so when you're looking at the Orthodox churches, you know what I mean, there are more divided. So you listen to things like the Russian Orthodox, the Serbian Orthodox, the Greek Orthodox. So they are not necessarily a universal structure. They were almost like limited by regions.
Yeah.
However, according to them, they have equals, or they have first among equals, but nobody is supposed to be the Pope per se.
Got it.
Right? So as a matter of fact, that trigger.
But they all still fall under the Pope.
But they still have a healthy level of communication. So you have some entities that are under the Pope, even though they are Orthodox, and you have some others that are operating. They call it, the actual term is autocephalous, meaning they don't answer to anybody, right? Which,
Yeah, they don't have it.
again, it's a little bit of an issue, but I'll get past that in a second. The final thing that was changed was the liturgy, right? The way the Mass was celebrated then, the way the Mass is celebrated now is completely different. the Catholic Church is called the Latin tradition or the Latin rite for a reason, right? Latin was the spoken language when the liturgy was, the Mass was being celebrated. All of that went out the window to introduce vernacular languages, meaning if you speak English, let's do it in English. And all of that was for the idea to accommodate supposedly. But those are three major changes. Now, as we continue to go through the process, Alexis, the problem is that the church has been more moving into a more modern, liberal-like, you know what I mean? So many years, they've been asking the question of, because everybody's always asking, how come there is no women priests, right? And in reality, it's not even a question of sexism or anything. Within the structure, women found a different, or were given a different role to play, but it was not necessarily the priesthood. The priesthood was assigned and was accepted as a council that was only given to men. That has been the tradition. So there is something called the magisterium of the church. Essentially, that is what the church as a vessel is supposed to protect and carry, that essentially nobody truly has the right to change. But we already experienced those changes through Vatican II, so that put in a shaky ground, right? So now you have a situation where sex union blessings that already started to pop out, but now they confronted the Pope and saying, what's going to be the official position of the church? And the Pope answered saying, well, this is one of those cases where it's probably going to have to be up to the discretion of every bishop, and it's got to be in a case-to-case basis.
So basically you're saying it's a state's issue. It's not a federal issue.
If you want to take it from that perspective, that would be a good way to do a comparison. That's a problem. That's a problem because, you know what I mean, depending on where you stand, some areas, and so now a same-sex union blessing is not the same as a same-sex marriage, right? But again, it's you moving the goal in that direction. You know what I mean? And so, it would be against everything that deals with scriptures, the same position of the church for, almost 2,000 years now. And so, and then the second thing that is on the table is as to whether or not women would be allowed in the priesthood. And so he says no, but at the same time, he's celebrating essentially this activity has a lot of women priests from other religions. So if I don't agree that you have the right to be that, you shouldn't be celebrating. That is the argument of the traditionalist group of people. So
it's a very confused Pope.
So essentially, almost from the time he gets elected,
I'm confused by this Pope.
Essentially, so that is the problem. The problem. This is the second duvia, by the way, the duvia or duvium. Duvia.
What is that for the people that don't know?
Yeah. So essentially, is a request for clarification. Essentially, duvium meaning that I'm concerned and not clear about.
And on a regular basis, how often does that happen?
This is. I will tell you, the last time that we had a request was probably 500 years ago.
500 years ago.
Say 50.
Hang on, and then how many times has it happened during this current Pope?
Twice with this Pope. So
it's kind of scary when the Catholic Church, which is supposed to be about values and principles,
1,000%.
They have to be asked about what the hell are your values and principles. So what's happening there?
These five cardinals, German Cardinal Walter Cardinal Brandmüller, an American Cardinal Raymond Cardinal Burke, Chinese Cardinal Saint Cardinal Sikyum, Mexican Cardinal Juan Cardinal Sandoval Iniguez, and a Guinean Cardinal Robert Cardinal Sarah, who's an incredible. I mean, this man. I'm giving you guys. These are not lightweights. This is they
could be the next Pope.
They could have been. They are considered, papal material, pretty much. You know what I mean? This is people that. But just the same way that we, it's funny when you're thinking about where we are in politics between Republicans and Democrats right now. Something similar has been brewing for many years. This is a book that grew up under theology, liberation theology. This is a pope that grew up in Latin America. This is the Che Guevara's experience. Even though they will argue that communism or anything that deals with the arguments of just secularism and things like that. They say they stand against all the other isms per se, right? But essentially, this is the Pope that is the most reluctant Pope. Somebody posted something and about this scenario, and I responded, well, this is the Pope that truly doesn't want to be a Pope. The everything that even you see, if you see in how the whole meeting is being conducted.
Does the Pope gets elected, but because you said that Peter, they put the plate in front of him.
Correct.
Did this Pope have the plate in front of him, and he kind of it's like, you gotta eat that?
So essentially within the Catholic Church, and within the Catholic Church, there's three positions essentially. We have a Pope, right? And that's because it goes through the selection of a college of cardinals, and everybody that is a cardinal can participate and becoming a Pope up until age 75. There is we do cap it. Right?
Whoa! For real?
Yes. And they can elect and participate and all of that, right? So some of them get to be old enough where they can even vote. You know what I mean? Because they're already too old to vote. So. And so we have a Pope, and the way we see it, the way we see it is that Pope is Peter. We're not saying that the Pope is like Peter, comes through, it looks like. We say the Pope is Peter, and he holds the keys, right? And that's the most significant component between the Catholic Church and the Orthodox. You see the Orthodox looks very much similar. You see the priesthood, a lot of the symbols, liturgy, some of them look very similar. What is the difference? A group of guys hold the keys, another guy. It's like me telling you, they're saying, Nori, I'm going to give you the keys to my house, and I give everybody the address to the house. Can you get to the house if I give you the address?
Yes.
Yeah. Who's the only person that has the ability to open the door to the house?
Nori and I.
No. Nori. I gave her the keys, right? So that's the same concept, right?
Gotcha.
That's the reason. When somebody asks me, so why are you a Catholic? Among the many reasons, I can't, by the way, this is biblical. This is not something, I'm not pulling it out of a hat, so I can't ignore that, right?
Yeah.
The second concept is something called an anti-pope. Because
that sounds like one of those horror movies.
Well, an anti-pope was somebody that was actually elected, but the moment that pope starts introducing heresy, confusion, and is preaching things that go against the magisterium of the church, can no longer be considered a pope.
So what happens then? Can he be ousted like Kevin McCarthy?
No.
Oh.
No, there's no such a thing.
So
either he quits, he dies. There's no such a thing as a removal of a pope. The only thing that you can do is pretty much correct or eliminate whatever was done during his tenure. You know what I mean? Yes. So, by the way, we have situations like that. And then the other thing is a concept called sede vacante.
No, hang on. Because this pope goes and says, I'm going to go marry Nori and Lorena at the Vatican, but he's the anti-pope. Correct. So, he cannot be ousted, therefore that can happen.
Yes.
Oh, but
and then what happens?
Well, you know how the story goes. What do you mean? What happens?
20 years from now, he dies. How old is he?
Oh, not 20 years from now.
5 years from now, he dies.
His action is considered non-valid.
Oh, because he was an anti-pope.
He was an anti-pope.
But so we were just stuck without a pope for a little while there.
Correct.
Oh.
Yeah,
that is so funny.
But that's if
it's like so. There's not like the vice president, and then there's the speaker of the house. There's none of those people.
So
no, I mean there's a curious structure. You know what I mean? And you do have. Remember, the Pope not only is a sort of spiritual head of the church, is he's also head of state. You know what I mean? The Vatican is the city, but so there is a structure, a legal structure for the state, and there's also a legal structure for the curia. But there's no such a thing as let's do a coup d'etat and we appoint somebody. It doesn't work like that.
Sorry, my revolutionary self is good.
I know. He steps down or he's got to die. And most of the popes died as popes. Rarely, just like you had in this case of.
So wait, does everybody know that there's an anti-pope in there right now, or how is that determined?
Well, what's the word?
Who says hey, we have an anti-pope?
No, the word. What's it called? The term that you said happens now every 500 years.
The dubia.
The dubia. That should be indication that
yeah,
they are
make no mistake
suspecting.
about it. Like there is.
So all of these guys say anti-pope.
there's a couple of.
No, for real. Like I'm
No,
asking.
there are
I think
very
that's-
big organizations within the church. Very big organizations within the Catholic Church. Like you got to be close enough to understand like a lot of the divisions that are unfortunately taking place at this very moment,
Yeah.
and that got accelerated from Vatican II all the way up to where we are today. Like we haven't seen that many.
Yeah.
There was a different level of alignment and respect to, and at the end of the day,
But hang on, but you're not saying it, which means that you cannot label it as such.
to say
Like I'm trying to understand that. Like,
Is he
I'm
the
like,
anti-pope
if
or
you-
not?
No,
if I believe,
No, not that you believe. I don't understand that you believe that there's an anti-pope. I'm saying if I'm like, yo, Walter Cardinal, bro, whatever right? I'm like,
Brand new.
is this dude an anti-pope?
No. He's a cardinal.
No.
You can only be-
I asked him, is Pope Francis an anti-pope? And will he answer yes or no?
More than likely, yes. More than likely.
And so-
So see, and again, within the structure of the church, you have the people. They still got to operate within the structure of
I
the church.
feel constipated
You know what I
right
mean?
now.
Yeah,
so
no,
confused.
and then, but within the structure of the church,
Yep.
you have a significant amount of organizations that openly use the term anti-Pope Francis, right?
Okay.
And so literally, this is
Okay.
not. You can go to YouTube and just do anti-Pope
Yeah.
Francis, and you're gonna see a lot of people. Some of them that do
So,
carry a lot of
question.
weight.
So we have what 5 that are trying to
Five cardinals that participated. This is a very serious
Mm-hmm.
position to take when you essentially you're coming together and you're producing a document that's going to be a public document where
Mm-hmm. Yes.
you're challenging, because it's not just a question of, it's literally saying explain yourself.
Yeah. But here's my question: How
Do-
many?
Yeah.
How many cardinals are there? And maybe this is a stupid question. Actually,
Sure.
I don't know.
No.
But and what I'm asking is, how many are there? And are there a lot of them that actually support the current pope? Because 5 could be a big number if there's only 7.
Correct.
Or 5 is a small number if there's 30. So then, how many of the other ones support his
The college,
new thoughts?
The college
on
of Cardinal has been expanded. You can look it up. I believe we are anywhere between 123 to about 140 cardinals. Most of them were elected by either the current pope or the last pope.
So
And
it's-
so in many ways, it's like you pretty much
This is the guy that's
choosing-
back in the court. We
this
talked
is
about this.
Essentially.
Why is he back in the court?
Because
What's
you have
point?
the right to, because people will retire. And it's not even a question of just adding, because he just literally just promoted 21 new cardinals.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And so the College of Cardinals, those guys do get to participate on becoming the next pope.
Got it.
And they get to participate on choosing that. So
Yeah.
more than likely, if I'm choosing you, is because I know that you think a little bit
Like
I
I do. Got it, got it, got it.
As a matter of fact, just recently,
241.
total, but how many of them are
136 are elected.
electable? And so they have the ability to participate on
And
potentially become
177 are not. 107 are not eligible to vote.
to vote.
Got
So
it.
because they already passed the age threshold.
Got it.
They're
Got it.
either to participate on, yeah.
And the reason why
So you do
Yeah.
have to choose,
Gotcha.
as a pope is one of the things that you choose cardinals, you
So-
choose bishops, right? So and a bishop essentially is the administrator
A baby cardinal.
of a region.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you have so when you're talking about the Bishop of Orlando, he literally is the legal administrator of anything the Catholic Church owns in
He's
Orlando.
the Peter of Orlando.
Exactly.
Okay.
But, well,
Got it.
not Peter.
No,
because you can only be-
no,
but
I just wanted
no,
to poke you.
no. But he's considered a one of the apostles.
Okay.
A bishop is considered one of the apostles. You
Got
know,
it.
one of the
And the cardinal?
but here's the cardinal is
cardinal is just the prince of the church.
But is
that
he
gets the
an
chance to-
apostle or no?
Also,
It's a
yeah,
step
because
above.
prior to becoming a cardinal, it was a bishop, archbishop. Once you become an archbishop, more than likely you're going to be a cardinal.
So no, here's the reason why I'm asking, because is it possible then that he is getting a lot of support from a good chunk of the cardinals? Because if so, then it could be, even though there is a group that's like, well, we don't like this, I don't like, we need to stay orthodox, we need to stay,
Correct.
connected to our roots. What if a vast majority are like, no, we like this new idea.
What
or
percentage of the
Yeah,
241 are actually
yeah.
with this pope?
It's a little more complicated than that.
Gotcha.
And here's what I mean by that. Once Vatican II came out and say this is our position, right? What that moved into is everybody who, like, again, obedience is one of the votes that anybody that becomes a part of a religious life has to make. So you're supposed to go along with whatever was dictated, right? The only thing that you can claim is, hey, clarify, because you're introducing more confusion.
Gotcha.
So you have a lot of people that didn't necessarily, as a matter of fact, that's what created the SSPX, the Society of St. Pius X, under Archbishop Lefebvre, which is a separate organization that still practices essentially the way pre-Vatican II the Catholic Church was. I got news for you. That's one of the fastest growing organizations.
Will at some point, like, the hierarchy
It's
move?
possible. It's possible. As a matter of fact, there are people praying in that direction. The problem is that as of this moment, they don't have the right to promote their own cardinals.
Oh.
And therefore, if they don't have anybody from their organization to be a cardinal, as a matter of fact, I was trying to interview somebody to have that conversation specifically. So
they can never become pope because they cannot become
you
cardinals.
cannot be a cardinal. You cannot. As of this
Can
moment,
these
that's the
guys
only
be like,
structure.
hey?
Possible where you can have a pope that will come in and say, we are going to allow them, if we accept them as part of the church, and they do as of this moment, they're not in schism as much as they want to say that they are separated from it. They're not separated from the church. They were, the previous Pope, Benedict XVI, made it very clear, not only are they not separated, any excommunications were lifted, they have the ability to participate. The Mass, it was okay for them to celebrate the Mass the way they were celebrating the Mass, which is the Latin tradition, and so on and so forth. But that hopefully will come with a pope that will be willing to say what we did for 1700 years prior to Vatican II still holds true. That's the problem with a lot of people that are in this group, the traditionalists, as they are called, are people that say you can't just disqualify 1700 years of tradition.
So these guys are like the MAGA group?
These guys are the MAGA group, if you want to call it.
I get it. Yeah. And Pope Francis is Biden.
So you have pretty much
I got it.
going into a modern approach to, we
Who's Kevin McCarthy?
And so you have
what is the St. Pius
I think
guy?
we
St.
had it.
Pius
As a matter of fact, except for the fact that instead of being removed, he removed himself.
It's so funny.
I will call Benedict XVI the Kevin McCarthy of the, like, he came in trying to, in a very difficult situation. The John Paul II reigned for 28 years, one of the longest serving popes.
Yeah.
He presided
Everybody
over
loved that
many of
guy.
the changes. Yeah,
He
you know what I mean?
introduced Vatican II, though.
No.
he
Vatican II was introduced by John 23rd. He died, and during that time was finally presided by Paul VI, and then after Paul VI was John Paul I, and then John Paul II. John Paul I died 33 years. He only reigned 33 years as Pope. Rumors was that he was, did I say 33 years? 33 days.
Oh, okay.
He was elected in 33 days. He went to sleep, never woke up.
I'm sure.
There's a lot of speculations that he was assassinated because of.
Sounds
But
like
anyway, I'm not going to go into that. Pope,
Wow.
anti-pope, and here's the last group, guys. There's another group that calls the current situation a sede vacante. A sede vacante, what that means is that
no one's there. It's empty.
the seat of Peter is empty. That there is no Peter. That right now, and that we haven't had a real pope. We had a real pope.
Who
That the
believes that?
last pope that we had was Saint Pius XII.
before.
Before Vatican II.
Vatican II.
Wow. So
But
that's what
who
these
believes
guys
that? That's
believe.
another group that is also large enough to actually say we don't. And so what are we waiting for? Is for a real pope?
You know what
I have a fun question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have a very fun question.
Yeah.
Do you know the presidents of the United States in the same order that you know the popes?
No, I don't even know the order of my family. I don't even know the order of my
I'm
own
just
family.
wondering.
So no, here's what I think is the situation with the whole Catholic Church is they're gonna have to make a decision if they want to continue to grow, or do they want to stay to their values and principles?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem is they want to grow, but the world is growing in a whole different direction.
No, I disagree.
And I think that why else would they do it other than like so? I mean, the current
disagree.
pope. Why else would he come up with new ideas that is against what the church
I
has done for
disagree.
so long?
I think-
Other than there's a group of people who want that.
No, more than ever before, people are looking for
I don't think so.
Dubia.
No.
A lot of people are looking for Dubia.
I think more than ever before we need it. I don't think that's what people are looking for. Like people don't
I'm
want
telling
leadership. We need leadership, but they don't want it. They don't want it. They want to be able to do whatever they
Well,
can.
let's just highlight a second so that we can
Yeah,
bring
sure,
it home.
sure.
But let's just highlight a second. The fact of the matter is that is 1.3 billion Catholics right now.
Yes, sir.
The Catholic Church has been at the forefront of real social services. Before there was any governments building roads, they were
correct.
building roads.
Absolutely.
Before they were building schools, they were building schools. Before any entity was building hospitals, the Catholic Church was building hospitals and was doing a phenomenal job serving the people. That's one of the responsibilities. The second thing is how we communicate the idea of right and wrong, right? Like who had the authority. So even Jewish communities, Muslims community, any other religion will look at Rome to see what is your position about that, and we'll take that very seriously.
Yeah.
That had a lot to do with how the Renaissance, that has a lot to do with how philosophy, how theology was discussed and dictated. Many of the current ideas today come through and as the result of the Catholic Church actually facilitating an environment. Many will argue, Peterson will argue that that was even maybe a mistake, that the Catholic Church wanted to accommodate the idea of reason and faith. Because at the end, like in my case, I'm a believer that truly don't see any conflict between reason and faith. That's what the Catholic Church wanted to lead to, right? To
Yes,
say,
yes.
listen, at the end of the day, you want to say I come from the monkey as long as the monkey comes from God. You want to say that there was an explosion. You got to explain where that stuff came from. For me, that was God. You know what I mean? Those are simple concepts. But the idea of ecumenism was potentially coming up with one world religion. Can we all get along? Can we all believe? But these beliefs are so deeply rooted that people are willing to kill each other for what they believe, right?
true. Yeah.
So the idea of one world religion doesn't work. What it does, it waters down your position,
Absolutely.
her position.
Absolutely.
We have to get to the point where you have to surrender some of the things that you deeply believe about God and life and everything to be able to agree with me if we didn't agree to begin with. So that's not helpful in any way, shape, or
I get you.
form.
Yeah.
Because again, what we're saying is, all right, let's all be willing to be wrong, opposed to finding out who the hell is right, right? The second thing is the church then lost one of the main responsibilities, which is to be missionary. Are we going out there to convert people? Why?
more.
Because I believe that I hold the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
And if I hold the truth, then I have the right to go anywhere for the process of
Stop
conversion. But there's two ways to expand. You were asking a question, how does it grow? Well, it grows through conversion, right? You go to the places. And again, listen, the message is compassionate enough, the rituals are beautiful enough, but people will continue to convert. But we are also losing a lot of people that are shipping out. They're not just dropping from believing in the Catholic Church and I'm going to be a Protestant or I'm going to be an Orthodox, which to be quite honest with you, I have least of an issue
just
with that.
don't wanna do
But
nothing.
let me become a Muslim. Let me become...
Because they're more clear about their values and
let me
principles.
become a non-believer. Let me become a whatever the case may be. You know what I mean? So that's really losing believers is a bigger problem than not gaining enough people. The second thing is the other option is
Because
growing
they stop recruiting.
growing through birth rate, and
Yeah,
so
like having more babies. I got you.
whoever has more babies eventually is
Gotcha.
gonna. Guys, at this point, what is the replacement rate for Christians? Is only 2.1 right now. We're still within replacement. Muslims are only barely 2.3. At some point, they were like 3.7, meaning they were really gonna outpass us just by the sheer default that they have more babies. You know what I mean? So, what is the area that is growing within the Catholic Church? Asia, Africa, Latin America. Why? Because there are more babies being born in those territories. United States is benefiting from the amount of immigrants that are coming into the country right now,
Gotcha.
most of them being Catholic, and that's the overall number. But it's a very scary situation. Or I mean, that this is guys, for an entity at that level, when you're talking about the conversation, the depthness of the conversation that is involved in these are very scary moments, right? And so let's see how this whole thing is presided. When I'm saying a pope that is reluctant to be a pope, guys, if I show you how a pope will walk into, in many ways, the pope represented a monarch. It's a monarchy style. It's a hierarchy structure, right? And it really is a monarchy style. And this man is so reluctant that usually the pope will be sitting in a very special area, very specific, in a very regal way, right? Opposed to let me sit with everybody else, and even the way he dresses is not the traditional way that a pope will normally dress. You know what I mean? Like he wants to,
Wear
and
jeans.
again, so what you're taking away is a very important component, which is the element of
Looking like a
the
monaguillo.
signals and symbols. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yes.
It's super important. Listen,
yes,
whether
yes.
I like it or listen, I don't know the last time that you went to Brooklyn and you were somewhere around the area when you see the Orthodox Jewish community, right?
Yeah, I see.
And there's multiple areas where you can find it. But I don't care who you are. When you see an Orthodox Jew who's got their, especially Yiddish community, right? You're talking about their
Yeah, they got the
little
locks and everything,
things
yeah.
and they're wearing black and the whole thing. I don't care who you are. Immediately you think of God. And so that's what you call a symbol. That's what you call a sign of something. So anyway, with that being said, I don't know if this whole segment is going to have to be, because we're
Probably
going to
its
have to
own-
separate it.
Yeah.
But I
Podcast.
hope it gets,
Explaining
39.6.
the
Special-
Catholic structure to
special, the
Catholic.
papacy special.
The
right?
papacy
It's,
special.
So,
I like that.
but
This
anyway,
segment's
with that being
brought
said,
to you
guys,
by Pope Francis.
anything that you want to close
Yes,
in
yes.
terms of...
So for me, I think the underlying message that I want everybody to leave here with is this: regardless of whether we're talking about business, government or religion, you gotta understand that you are that number one person for your family 9 times out of 10. Do you get what I'm saying? And if you're not, then you're leaving it in the hands of business. You're leaving it in the hands of, a church, or in the hands of the government, which sometimes that's fine. But I think we just got to be clear on what our position is. And when I say our, I mean you, for you, your family. What are your values and principles, so that you can go in a direction that makes sense to you. And then not only that, support the things that fall in line with the things that you think. So I think it's super important for us to be clear on what our position is and support the entities that have that same position. That's my biggest message, that I want everybody to, think about, after this whole talk.
Awesome. For me, it's dubia. It's like my new favorite word. Make sure. I just didn't know that there was one word that could do so much of that. It's hilarious. But all jokes aside, no, for real, dubia, right? Which is, are you clear about your values and principles? And a little bit of echoing what Alexi was saying, but look, if I have a problem, therefore I have the solution. How can you evolve that from I own the problem, then I own the solution? And then getting to the deepest level, which is because I am the problem, I am the solution. And so having that is the highest level of accountability. I'm telling you, it's not the easiest thing to do. It's easier to stay out of this mindset than it is to be in it. But it's so helpful for anybody that really wants to make true change in their life. 1 and 2, being clear about your values and principles gives you the opportunity to never get hurt. I always give the example of jiu-jitsu. The number one reason why a lot of people get hurt whenever you're throwing somebody or you're doing a practice is because you hesitated in the process. And usually that hesitation comes from having a lack of structure. Therefore, the way that I equate it is lack of values and principles. If your values are and your core is well positioned, then there's not going to be a problem when it comes to you getting hurt. So be clear, dubia, and you are the problem, therefore you are the solution as well.
So, guys, for me, I want to go back to a principle that to me has always been, part of the not only the American dream, but a principle that makes our country great, right? Individual rights and property rights. It's something that has always have existed at a greater level, stronger than in any other place in any other country. To me, it's very scary to see at this very moment how that individual right can be very easily violated by career politicians, by career judges, by somebody that truly has the power to take away from somebody else. And now you got to go through a process to defend what you family own, what you own your whole life. And so, very scary, you know what I mean? I hope this is a moment where every single one of us can look at this whole situation. For the people that are paying attention, because you have a lot of people that unfortunately are not even paying attention.
Sure.
This is something that unfortunately can happen to you, right? And so you want to pay attention to how this thing is going to develop. Because I will tell you, if there is anything that I want to always vote for, is to make sure that individual rights, property rights are always protected for every single American. It's a very scary thing to witness how this whole thing is playing out with Donald Trump. Like it or not, this is truly is just beyond tasteless. And now it's actually becoming scary altogether just to watch and to witness. So with that being said, you know what I mean, if this conversation was helpful to you, pass it around, you know, comment, you know what I mean? We definitely want to get your perspective about what you think is taking place. And even beyond that, I will tell you, it's a little painful sometimes to get involved with this level of communication at this level because you truly got to pay attention.
Yeah.
And you go back and you said, man, so many years where I didn't know what the hell was happening around me. And it's very scary because that means that during all of that time, I was not motivated to get involved at any level. Sure. You know what I mean? I'm inviting people just to get involved a little more. The next election, it will be consequential. And it's going to be important for every single one of us to be a part of it. So,
Vote with your feet.
Yeah.
Vote with your dollars.
Like,
Share.
comment, pass it around. Let us know what you're
Share.
thinking. All right? Peace.
Bye.
Thank you.